All right, that's it. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank with myself, Dr. Ron. And we will first, as you begin to get these notifications, like, share, subscribe. We have a very, uh, probably a very interesting conversation for you tonight. The topic that we have is one that will definitely, I believe, put you in a place to think. Will affect not just fathers, but can affect everyone. It's about never giving up, and we're going to talk about that in all kinds of bounds of life, but mainly in the view from fatherhood. So, welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank. Like, share, and subscribe. And let me get the other fathers who are here tonight to introduce themselves, and we're going to get busy with Fatherhood Think Tank.
Brother Johnny Gaspard, father of two grown adults. They still young, but they grown. Brother just turned 26 last month, and my son's about to graduate from college, and he now 21, be 22 when he graduates in August. So I'm excited about being back with the fatherhood group. These encouraging, incredible men, and hopefully we'll be able to share some good things tonight about never giving up.
My name is Ed Tenney. I have a blended family of six, age range from 14 to like 34. Um, yeah, that's about it.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome back. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults. Um, of course, one beautiful wife, and it's just always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Oh yeah, I got a wife too. Let me just say that, just in case. I ain't trying to get in trouble. Thank you, like brother Riley.
I think everybody. I think we got another father here. Introduce yourself, please.
I look like Castro.
It definitely looks like him. Well, he's here. He can come around. So I just want to say tonight we are going to be talking about never giving up. Is our topic, and when you think about that, one of the first things I think about is to ask all the fathers about something that they have that they never gave up on, or something that they might be working on to never give up right now. So I'm throwing that out there into the atmosphere for fathers to think about never giving up. What is something that you guys have thought about that you not giving up on or have never given up on, or you never gave up and then was successful in it? And then we can.
Lionel, you want me to go first? I'll jump in.
Oh, by all
Um,
means.
um, I do remember when I was in law school. After my first semester in law school, I had been out of college, out of school after graduating for almost 4 years. And then I decided to go back to law school, and the transition was a lot more difficult for me than I expected, mostly because I was so used to after work going home and just relax. When you're in law school, when you're done with classes, when you go home, that's when you're doing the work as far as reviewing your briefs, preparing them, reading the book, and getting a breakdown on what the law is and how to properly write a brief. Those are things that I didn't just invest the time. So I would literally go home and be like, man, I'm gonna just relax a little while, and then I never got caught up. So I fell behind, and I was actually on academic probation my first semester. And my grandfather also passed away the end of that first semester. A man who was essential and important to raising me. And I literally was like, I'm done with this. One, I'm not doing well in school, and then two, my grandfather just passed away, and I just really didn't know how to control it. So I literally went back home, and I was telling my grandmother, I was done with it, and explained to her, and she's like, "Hold up, did God say you to do this?" I said, "I gotta believe so, Grandma, because I didn't apply to get into law school till literally 2 weeks before the deadline, and I got in." And she said, "Did he make a way for you to get in?" I said, "Yeah," because initially Southern didn't have any more spots, and I literally had to wait till August to know if I was going to get in or not. And then they called me and said, "Hey, we got a spot for you." And she said, "Okay, so if God made a way for you to get in, this ain't no way for you to stop. You can't give up on this." And as a result of that, I decided to go back. I pushed through. Not only did I push through, I ended up in my final semester, and from that point on, actually just getting all A's. And my final semester to graduate with my incoming class, because I was on probation, I literally had to take 21 hours, and I could only take 18 at Southern, and I had to go across the train track to LSU to take the other 3 so that I could graduate with my class. And again, did great, awesome. My GPA that last semester was the highest GPA I had, of a 3.9, I think. And I graduated and passed the bar the first time out. So as I tell people, it's not where you start, it's where you finish at the end of the day, or where you at, however they want to say it. But that was one of the things I didn't give up on. And I thank God for the people around me that encouraged me not to give up on it, because it was one of those easy things that I could have walked away from and just went in a completely different direction in my life. And here I am now, 24 years later, still doing it, still making an impact, thanking God for allowing me to and using me to do what he has. And it allowed me also to be a great example to my kids. And when I tell them the story, so, it also encourages them to never stop, never to give up on your goals. So that was that's on me. And I'm sorry for that long story, but I really just wanted to share the entire aspect of it so you get good context as to why that was important for me.
No, that's a testimony. That's just not a story.
First, don't ever apologize for giving positive stories.
Right,
I think that we'll give a real long, horrible, bad talk, and we'll spend 3 days to talk about it. It's something good, something hopefully inspiring to younger people, to other fathers. We'll say, "Oh, I don't want to talk too long. I don't want to say too much," but something. So I'm really on that this year to say, hey, highlight our positives, our successes, because I think that we are losing it. I think our next generation is losing to ever see that, because we are sometimes focused on problems or the bad things, or what's not happening, or what didn't happen, instead of really looking at the things that did happen, that can happen,
yes,
and would happen, and has happened to us. And I think this is a good part of why I'm starting this up like this. For that reason, is because we're going to go into a whole bunch of stuff probably by the end of this show. But let's hear these successful moments from fathers that have joined us tonight, and so the people can hear what kind of success that fathers are having. Since I seen one of these memes on social media that almost, everybody got the cartoon where they're making the action figure, figure man or whatever that is, and they had a father and they had nothing there, and the comment was to get milk and cigarettes, and had some cigarettes, milk, and child support papers. That is that is a construction of what fatherhood is for, especially minority fathers, when that is totally the opposite. And because we don't talk about what we're talking about, we have people talking about that and highlighting that. So, Johnny, give all your kudos and your flowers out to yourself and for us to celebrate. because we don't get enough of it right now. So we need to bring that back into the forefront. And that's for everybody who's going to speak. Bring it to the forefront. Bring those things so we can build from them, and other people can hear and listen and build from it as well.
All right.
No, but Johnny, your success, the science of success, is when you tell a story, it turns that success into progress, because your story becomes a strategy for somebody else. So that's why people need to hear our stories.
Good point.
But as far as I go, I mean, I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum. I was always thinking I might have gave up on everything. Sometimes I feel like that. It's not until you get around other people. I think Jesus did it best when he asked the disciples, "Who do man say I am?" And so for me to determine whether I gave up or not, because I think sometimes I judge myself unjustly. I think I'm the worst judge of me. And so I often have to hear from other people like, "Man, what you talking about? That's not true. That's not an accurate depiction of who you are." And so I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum, because most of the time I think I might have gave up or failed at a lot of things where my friends and my wife was a great witness to a lot of this stuff. The narrative I had for myself is not the narrative that my friends or my community had for me. And so that was a testimony within itself. But I think it also keeps me humble. It may be a touch of low self-esteem. I don't know. But whatever it is, the references, I would give God the glory for, because the references saw me far greater than I am, or far greater than I see myself. So that's just my testimony when it comes to, the topic.
Come on, fathers, don't feel shy. We want to hear about that never time of giving up. What was it that you never gave up on?
I'll jump in. Good evening, everybody. It's been a while.
Good evening, bro. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be seen. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I think this is enlightening because I just had a scenario the other day where my oldest son, Joaquin, my 9-year-old, checked me on something. And I think the beauty part of it is not giving up on what you originally said you were going to do, right? And we can lie to everybody else, but we can never lie to ourselves. So my son, I'll give you guys a scenario. My son said, "Dad, you talk to other men about showing up and being emotionally available for their kids and their spouses and everybody." Mind you, this is my 9-year-old. He says, "But you're not doing that for us right now." I was like, "Oh, shit. Okay." I said, "Tell me how." And he said, "Well, you just got really upset with us." He says, "Don't forget what you committed to." And I sat back and I thought about it. I'm like, you're right. For my son to tell me that, there has to be something that he's seeing that I'm not seeing. So I bring that up because we always talk about the easy failures, like, "Oh shit, I'm still in pursuit of my PhD," or "I'm not pursuing that anymore, I stopped," or "I pivoted." But there's commitments that we made to ourselves and we made to people around us. And sometimes we tap out of them, or we don't, but we act like we did. And then it's received differently, if that resonates with anybody. So I bring that up because it was a good reminder that I have subconsciously made a commitment to my kids and myself. And I didn't think I had tapped out, but in their eyes, it looked like I did. So I bring that up because it's interesting. To me, the biggest win in knowing that my commitment was still true was because I didn't react how my dad would have reacted had I said that to him. Actually, I would have never said that to my dad. I would have never had the courage or the balls really to check my dad like that. So for me, it was like, you know what? I'm still on par because I'm reacting exactly how I said I wanted to react, intentionally and emotionally safe. So for me, it was just a reconfirmation of I'm still doing what I said I was going to do. Long roundabout it, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
So you didn't give up even though you may have thought you did.
I never thought I did.
Okay.
I just realized when he checked me that I was still being intentional, right? That I
Oh,
was still holding space and I wasn't reacting like my dad would. Because sometimes you could just snap back into old programming.
yeah, no doubt.
No,
Yeah.
but you did something. You did something for your children your dad didn't do for you, and that was create that space for them to be transparent and open to you, open with you.
Right.
Your dad may have not had the tools to construct that space for you, and so guess what? I think most of us, whatever we lacked in our childhood, we tend to extend to our children and our parenthood. So I think you are moving forward. You right on. Put like this. You right on track, and it's good that your children helps to keep you on track.
That part, right? Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you.
All right. Anybody? I see Gene there.
So I think I'll chime in here. I think for me, um, it seems like the mistakes that I make as I get older, for some reason, cut a lot deeper. I'm not exactly sure why that is. Um, but I think for me, never giving up is even when the mistakes that I may make cut deep and hurt deeply, um, there is a continued desire for growth and trying to um, overcome those mistakes, learn from them, grow from them. And most of all, I guess for me, just kind of um, opening my uh, inner man to hear what God may be trying to teach me um, when those painful cuts um, that are self-inflicted via my, whether it be ignorance or anger or um, being over emotional or overreacting or something like that. Um, just never giving up on the fact that, as I get older, I still have something to learn, something to glean, um, and apply it to the days that I have left on this earth. And it's quite humbling. So I think for me, it's never giving up on growth and humbling myself to realize that I still got a whole heck of a lot to learn.
It's funny that you say that, and I think, yeah, you always bring such uh, uh, perspective of futuristic, and I almost say like sometimes we don't think about people thinking about things for the future. Think about so much present, and past. And when as I listen to you speak about that, all I can think about is like, hey, this is telling us as fathers, as people, generally, that listen, we have a whole bunch more things that we're going to be facing, we're going to be dealing with. So thinking that we got it all together, we where we need to be, it's that, and I only can I think of how that resonates with me. I was listening to Will Smith on Drink Champs, and he was speaking the concept of hitting rock bottom, and many of us know what it means to hit rock bottom because we've been there. It's closer to most people hit rock bottom because it is the closer to the middle, right? So most people make it to the middle and that they can always go down. But he talked about how rock bottom is also a lot like making it to the top. And at some point, after all the awards and accreditations and all this, you almost fall out the same way you could fall out of being at rock bottom. And that almost goes to kind of thinking that you're describing, Ed, because I thought about, as you were saying, I was thinking the same thing. Listen, I remember being in a place where I was getting awards and citations and stuff like every other week, and this, and at this point, I wouldn't even want to accept the award, right? I'm not interested in an award. I don't want to be honored that you're. Unless it comes with being able to support and facilitate something for some other organization. You give me an award, then I can say, oh, you can give that money to this people or support this thing. But I don't need any more of that. At the same time, there's a time when I was at the same low part where I was scrapping and scrambling, trying to figure out, doing whatever I could, however I could. And those two places are very similar. And I think that's a big part of this thing of never giving up, to know that you got to keep moving. That like you said, don't get to the point now. I got everything figured out. I don't have to I can give up now and just chill. I can rest on my laurels. I can rest on the goose egg that I established, because there's going to come a time that this world is revolving and life is going to happen to you still. Not like you listen, you only can rest well when you're in that nice cushy coffin. All hell can be breaking loose in the church and during the funeral, but guess who don't worry? Who have no concerns about that? Yourself, because you're resting very well, peacefully, in solitude and resting. But until then, you still gonna have to be dealing with stuff that's gonna always be happening, and it's a great opportunity to say, I'm never gonna give up preparing for those kind of things. So, and this is why the think tank is so important. Because what Ed said sparked this whole vomiting of what I was just saying out my mouth, based on listening to him was saying and putting all that together. And so that's why I say to people, hey, if you haven't done now, like, share, subscribe to the Fatherhood Think Tank. Do not let a moment go by that you don't have to listen to it on. We would like for you to listen to it live on Tuesday night and hit the like button and this, but I don't care when you listen to it, as long as you might be listening to it, because there is so much information that if you're willing to listen and start to think in your mind, because again, this is not the clubhouse, this is not the bar room, this is the think tank. So if you don't want to think, I agree, don't even listen. Right? But just listen if you want to hear. We might get in an argument one day. You might want to listen to that. See? But then guess what you're gonna have to do? Think about, why did those guys argue and now they agreeing about the same stuff? Because that's how think tanks work. When you listen, you don't have to stand on something. You can say, So again, Tuesday nights, 7:00. Like, share, subscribe. Help us help you help other people. With that being said. Is anybody else going to talk? Because while we're doing that, I want to also at this moment, one important thing that is very important to me is to make sure we, present some of our sponsors. Let me just go to the sponsors we have. We have some sponsors who support the show. And we want to make sure we highlight them as much as possible. We have our key sponsor, Jag. Jag, do you want to talk about give this advertisement to the people so they can know how they can reach you if they need to?
Well, yes. I wasn't expected to be put on it, but thank you for letting me know. Again, Attorney Johnny Gaspard, just grateful for the opportunity to support this incredible platform where men get to share their experiences with the world about how being a father is one of the most important jobs and most selfless jobs that we have out here, that we don't get a lot of love on. So being able to support that is very important. Again, I'm attorney Johnny Gaspard. You can go to jag1law.com. That's
I'm gonna
J.
put that up. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it up.
Okay, jag1law.com, and support. You can reach me 305-827-8087. I'm in Miami, Broward, Palm Beach. Wherever you need me, I can get there. I do federal, state work, whatever it is. A lot of probate, estate planning, personal injury work, but my main work is criminal defense. I love fatherhood because it allows me to um, just be Johnny and not necessarily be Attorney Gaspard. So thank y'all for that opportunity.
All right, so that's our commercial. One of our sponsors of Fatherhood Think Tank, and so and this is important. We really want to support the community of the fathers who participate. We'll come back with another one of these commercials a little bit later for another one of our fathers who have a business out there. And I say to the fathers here, if you have a business, the Fatherhood Think Tank is not just a think tank that we talk. We also want to be able to support you and being a better father and the things that need to be done with that. So you would always welcome to bring you on board to discuss, what you're doing and how you're doing it, advertising to the people watching. So they may need that help. With that being said, let's go back to. I see we have some other fathers join on, and if those fathers want to introduce themselves while they're here, just to.
Yeah, J. Rob Menard, father of 2 adults.
Rohan Rodok, father of 2, well, 1 adult and one teenager.
Hold on. One of your children are adult now?
Yes. One is
I
19
thought
and
you
one
had
is
twin daughters.
God, Jesus.
How old the oldest one, Roy?
Listen.
19. She's 19 years old.
Oh, she's 19. Okay, I hear that.
Yo, wait. Listen. Listen. This is what happens to us, man. I'll just be very honest. This is what happens to us. I remember Rohan's children was in middle school, and I know adult. So it just him saying an adult. I'm like, what adult you got? You ain't no adult you got. But that's how time flies, folks.
Yeah, it sure does.
The kids that you have are adults, and the kids that you know become adults. All right, now I think we have somebody else, another father there.
Says need mo, get mo.
I like that.
I like that. If you need mo, get mo.
Nice.
You there? I ain't hearing that.
Okay, so we'll just when he comes on, we'll be able to see talk to him and ask him who he is. All right.
So Ron, can you I know I came on a little bit late, so I kind of caught the stories, but can you just refresh us with the theme?
Right. I recap. The next topic is never give up. And what we were just doing was kind of going around and having all the fathers talk about the time they didn't give up and what they haven't give up on, or what they're not giving up on, or just the idea of not giving up. And having fathers just go around and talk about something they haven't give up, just something about the not giving up, never giving up idea they have faced or been involved with. That's what we're really talking about.
Okay. All right. So I'll go up next and answer that then. I think it's gonna seem a little cliche, but I'm gonna put a story with it so that makes sense. So one thing in that, I think that I never gave up on fatherhood, and now I'm gonna give my back to that, my backing to it. So it's interesting because there's a lot of things in life that you say you want to do, and like time happens, life happens, and you put a lot of things to the back burner. And I made a conscious effort to go back and do timelines for myself to achieve certain things. And I always say it out loud. I always said it to my kids and stuff like that. And so when I reach pivotal times, even if I didn't make it in the timeline I expected to, I continued on trying to make it happen. And I think, and the way it rolls out with the fatherhood was, I didn't even realize this because your kids are always watching. So it's like being true to yourself shows them to be true to themselves, and for them to continue on to strive to do what it is that they wanted to do or want to do. And so I'll give a story for myself. Like I was in the social services field for a long time, and I was like, you know what? I'm not working till I'm 65. I refuse to work for someone till I'm 65. So I said, you know, by the age of 45, I'm gonna quit my job. By the time I'm 50, I'm gonna be in a position where I can say I can retire if I want to. I'm gonna be good. So continue to work towards that. Continue to work towards that. And then when I hit like 40, I think I was like 45, 46. I realized, I was like, man, you know what? I said 45. I wanted to be out of a out of the career road, I guess you want to call it. I can't think right now. There's long day of work. But I ended up just saying, I'm gonna quit my job. I had a conversation with the family, quit my job. I started up 3 businesses, and I started working those businesses. Right? Pandemic hits, still working the businesses. On the other end of it, I'm still, and on the other side of pandemic, still have the businesses going. And so I even would have my son come and help me with one of the businesses, and as we're doing stuff, so I can teach him things and stuff like that. And I say that because it allowed him to see that there's more options in life, right? And I role modeled for him that success isn't what they tell you success is, but success is what you deem success to be, right? Some people are going to tell you, man, you don't have $1 million in the bank, you don't got a fancy car, you're not successful. But someone else will tell you, you're home by a certain time, you go to all your kids' events, you're able to attend family functions, you're able to be part of a social life, you're 100% successful. I happen to take the stance of the latter, where I was there for all my kids' events, my son, my daughter. Any time that they needed me, because of the route that I took, I was able to be there. And that is something that solidified with them, not only the fact that they were important to me, but also what they were doing was important. So that's what I mean by I never gave up on fatherhood, but not consciously. It was an unconscious things that I was doing that allowed me to never give up on fatherhood and being the role model for my kids. And so that they have a drive to say, you know what, like my daughter loves art. So she has a drive to say, you know what, I'm going to make it as an artist. You see what I'm saying? And it's a difficult road to be an artist, but she's going to make it as an artist, like not an artist, a singer, but painting. So that is just something that, and I always continue to encourage them and tell them, look, if this is what you want to do, you go ahead and do it. I did what I wanted to do. You have a chance to do what you want to do. And so they're working towards it, striving for the goals that they want in life. So I think that's my story of the never giving up. And I hope it relates to the topic. But I thought that was one of the things.
I got to remember not to mute myself. I think, Gene, that definitely speaks directly to what we were talking about. And it actually then takes us into, because I think that, Johan, do you want to talk about something you never gave up on before that curve takes us into the never give up into some fatherhood talk? You're on mute. You're not unmuted. Go ahead. You're good.
There's an old saying: yesterday is history, today is a blessing, and tomorrow is a mystery. Now, we can learn from yesterday to make tomorrow a better day, yeah, and to improve. I would add, every day comes with its challenges, And sometimes we have short-term goals and long-term goals, and some goals are realistic and some goals are unrealistic. So ask yourself this. I ask myself this question: what is realistic? Because those are the ones that are sometimes attainable. And as we go along the journey of life, we have to just focus. Sometimes I have a list of 10 things to do for the day, and I have to cut it down to one. Maybe I can get the 10 things done for the week. So I would say never give up. Just never give up doing your goals, your short-term goals, your long-term goals, and just be positive. Because as we know from many fathers, especially fathers who are not with their children, it's very stressful at this time. And this program, Think Tank, offers support for those fathers. And we just have to, as I always say, we just have to keep on moving, keep on trying. Again, yesterday's history, today's a blessing, and tomorrow's a mystery. So to all those fathers out there, if you need that support, this group is a group that will support you. And anyone who knows of a father who needs that support, send them our way. We're here to help and to support. And we all can grow if we have that positive attitude and just grow. That's my take.
So Rohan, you said that didn't puts me right into kind of a place where I see we had a Leroy. I want to recognize Leroy Lee, for what he really. Make sure you like and subscribe, Leroy, so you could be a part. Go to the page, to the YouTube, or the Facebook page. Leroy said that he left his job at a law firm to be a full-time father, and I almost, it's one of the real things as I look at, I want to even kind of begin to talk about, like, people who don't give up in that capacity, like Leroy described. And it's almost feeling forced, because I dealt with a situation on Sunday where a grandmother called me and she was like, I need to really talk to you. I need some help with the situation. What should I do? How should I do it? And I was like, well, what's the deal? And the situation was that her son, who has a daughter, who has a child with a young lady, she went, meddling mothers. She felt that the child wasn't the son's child, not him. He knew it was. He didn't know, but he had been through so much and didn't give up being. He'd been to jail. He'd been child support was garnish his check. He'd been in trouble. He did all of these things only in 2 years, because the child's only 2 years old. In 2 years, he's been through what I know, in the history of knowing, is the roller coaster ride. The roller coaster ride. So he's been in that for about 2 years. And what I end up, telling her is that, like, the first thing I need to do is stop for a minute, because if there's been a lot of issue, a lot of, animosity, anger, you need to take a step back, because he's been continuing to never give up being the father in this situation, right? Even through all of the ups and downs and arrest and child, all these things, he never gave up being a father. Now he's getting this information of a paternity test that was taken to find out he's not the father. And oh my Lord, what's going to happen? Because he's probably going to, because imagine going through all, we hear stories, and you might watch paternity court and you see it, whatever. But it's different when you really meet people and you know them, and that this is what's really happening. If you heard them, he went to jail because he went this and that because he didn't pay child support. Now he in jail. What happened? But now it's the whole thing of, what is he going to do about never giving up at this point, right? Is he going to give up and say, well, this is not my child? And people sometimes feel that we are made like that, but it's not. People are not made like that. he'd been through, well, I'll just say he'd been through some type of hell and back, only for the child not to be his. So what's going to happen to him now? And that's a big thing as I begin to think about, and even what can he even do? I mean, what's the first thing I said? The first step is you and him need to sit down and realize that y'all need to now play chess, not checkers, in this situation. He doesn't need to go fly off the handle and go get arrested for a whole nother reason. That's how emotions happen. Over emotional. They need to, just kind of take a seat back. Johnny, what would you suggest somebody in that situation? Once they find out that they are not the father.
Whole Maury Povich, right? Huh? From a legal perspective, at that moment, depending on what has happened prior to. So let's say he had already been determined to be the father by the courts for whatever reason. Maybe he had inadvertently agreed that he was the father, but then and therefore there's documentation where the court has named him the father of the child, and then he subsequently, due to his investigative mother, found out that he is not. Now he has to go and file, petitions to have that reversed, so that he's now determined not to be the father. Now, there's been cases where, depending on the jurisdiction you're in, even if you find out afterwards, you are stuck.
Right.
And I know that sounds crazy to people, but if you already went to court and have been determined to be the father by the courts, and then you subsequently did a paternity and found out that you were not, in some jurisdictions you're stuck. Florida isn't one of them, fortunately. In Florida, you can go file the appropriate document. It'll take you a while, because the court is mindset is, well, sir, why didn't you do the paternity test initially before accepting responsibility? So there is some fault on your side, but the court won't necessarily hold you. And there's case law on that, so that's why I know Florida would. There is, certain things you have to show to have it vacated. But that would be the direction. Now, if he hasn't been named the father of the child, there hasn't been any legal documentation making him that, he then has a choice to make. He can, one, decide that he's going to be in this child's life despite of the biological understanding, or he can choose to walk away and emotionally decide that the best thing for him is to not be stuck with someone. And again, it's no longer just a parent, and each of you men can discuss it. When you are in a relationship, being a father to the child, as much as you want to just be the father to the child, you still have to be a co-parent, which means you got to deal with this person who you may not necessarily like or care for, who's lied to you, who's done different things to put you in the position you're in, and you still have to now co-parent with them. And he has the choice at this moment to say whether or not this is what he wants to do or not. So that's where we are, Ron, from the perspective of the guidance I would give. It would depend on whether or not he's already been determined father, and if he is not, then it's really on him to decide what he wants to do. Had he been in a child's life, because I think you mentioned the child was 2 years old, so they're still
child's 2 years old at this point. Yeah.
So from a perspective of memory per se, they may not necessarily, if he walks away today, they may not necessarily remember him in 3 years when they're now 5 and going to kindergarten. So it may be something that he may want to decide that I'm done. But what I would not advise him is to stay there, let this child grow, and then at 6 say, I'm tired. I'm done with this. The mama keep lying, she keep doing this, blah, 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 and then walk away. In that scenario, he's doing a detriment to the child, and it's unfair to the child in that scenario. So I would then tell him, look, this child is 2. You either get up and go, or you stay the whole way. But it's your choice at this moment. and your reason for staying the whole way isn't necessarily about you, but about the child.
Yeah.
Now, if he decides to stay the whole way, this is the problem he is now running into because he has no rights.
Right.
And we all know how women. And let me back that up before I say anything that will get me
Well,
shot.
let me just say that. Let's speak in this case. In this case, he almost doesn't have any rights because the mom has kind of been like that with him.
Well,
Like,
that's different. If you just haven't filed and been determined paternity yet, then yeah, your whole right situation. But you have the ability. If
no,
you
I'm not talking about paternity rights. I'm talking about relationship rights, like the relationship that occurs. That women, both men and women, when they get in a relationship, they will let their partners have rights to their children. They will
correct,
say,
even
"Oh,
if it's
we're
not
in a
theirs.
relationship, right? So you can
Mhm.
take them to the school, you can pick them up. Oh, why don't you spend time with them or this and that?"
Got it.
Whereas in this case, someone can actually be the biological father, and because of the relationship, they don't have those types of rights because of the custodial parents.
Well, yeah, but that person still has the ability to go and enforce their rights.
Mm-hmm.
They're the biological parent. They still have the ability to go to court and fight for that time sharing so that the other parent doesn't control. Where in his scenario, if he decides to stay, he doesn't have that right. He doesn't have the ability to go to court and say, Yana, I want to see my child every other weekend. He doesn't have that right. So he's now stuck at the control and mindset of this lady who, when she's good, maybe more than willing to let him take the child so she could go hang out with her girls for the weekend. But when she mad, be like, no, you're not taking the baby, especially when she knows it's something he wants. It's Father's Day. Why I can't spend the time with my child? Because it ain't your child, nigga. Or y'all know what I mean when I say that. It ain't your child. And sadly, that's what he would be signing up for if he decides to stay. I hope
Yeah,
y'all with
Johnny,
me.
I think you gave a great scenario reference to what you know. I mean, again, the situation is just something I just told you off the fly. You give what we can give. Maybe somebody who's listening to this might be going through the same thing or some kind of situation like this, and they don't want to give up. And so here's an opportunity to hear some of the things you can do legally. I think relationally, there are some other components of this that is causing the majority of the problem that you're having with this person. You know that they didn't want you to still be in a relationship, or you still be in a relationship with them, and what have you. So that's something they have to work out.
I think Light one wanted to jump in on this.
Oh no, oh, I came off of mute.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm gonna give somebody else. I'm gonna let Need Mo Gitmo jump in and get his pound of flesh and all that good stuff. And then I come right after you. What's going on, Reg?
Okay, he's still on mute.
No, I was
Hold
listening
on,
to
let
that.
me, hold on,
That
let me unmute you. Let me unmute you, Reg. Go ahead, Reg.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
How y'all doing, man?
And good night, brother.
That's good. Good to see y'all. I'm sorry I was late, man. I'm not used to getting on WhatsApp. That's how I got y'all information. So I got to start getting on WhatsApp to stay abreast on what's going on.
There you
And
go.
what's that YouTube station y'all got?
Fatherhood Think Tank.
Fatherhood Think Tank. Okay, I'm gonna get
Just
on that when
go to there, and the best thing to go subscribe to the page. And what you'll end up doing is you'll get notifications that you want to be notified when we coming on, and you'll know.
All right, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I guess
Oh, and I don't know if you connected to the band app. Just go to the band app, and the same thing on band app, Fatherhood Think Tank, and then you'll get the information to be able to come in and log in. So
okay, what is band app?
it's a app that we use to just communicate with.
It's called BAND.
Yeah, BAND app.
Okay. You get that at the Play Store?
Yeah, you can get that. yeah. I got you. You can get it at the Play Store. You can get, or you can just go on Google and just put in band app and then it'll come up.
All right.
Play Store. You get it at a Play Store.
I'll do that, man. I'll do that. Not a problem.
You want to introduce yourself? Tell us how many children you got. So
Okay. Yeah. My name is Roger Wright. I'm married. I got a son. I want to say, well, I got a stepdaughter too, but that ain't work out too well. I'm a crane operator and I got a pressure washing business. That's who I am.
You got a pressure washing business?
Yes, I do.
You got a flyer for that pressure washing business?
Yeah, I got some flyers and some cards and stuff.
Yeah. So next thing I tell you to do, make sure you send me, once you get on, send that to any of the things, and when we can advertise it when we have shows, man. We try to support our fathers, man.
All right, no problem, man. No problem.
Yeah.
These was the same guys on here last time when I was going through it with my stepdaughter.
Yeah, with that's the same group. Same group, man.
Yeah. That's why I said
this topic is perfect for you because tonight's discussion is never give up. And so you can definitely speak to that on how you how you're still going and moving forward on never giving up on your family.
Right. I ain't give up on my family because when my stepdaughter called the cops on me, my wife ain't know. Because I did tell my wife, I was in the police car being escorted up out of here, that we can sell this goddamn house. I get my half, you get your half, you can go your way, I go my damn way. And that was my last words to her. Because I thought she knew. But she ain't know. So, I kept moving forward because of that. Number one. Number two is I ain't really want to disrupt my son's relationship with his family. You understand what I'm saying? And it proved to be a good decision.
Okay.
Hey, and number 0, you love your wife because I know her.
Yeah, I do.
So I'm gonna put that in the forefront of things.
Yeah, I
and
do.
You guys are an excellent couple, and I'm gonna be honest with you. You add to the you're an asset to the culture. So thank you for never giving up.
Hey, not a problem, man. Not a problem. I want to always be at these shows that y'all give out to. I really like them. I like the insight.
Yeah. Well, that's the purpose of them. I mean, the purpose is we have so many. And again, I think when this whole idea came up, part of this came out of COVID. First, it came out of COVID. There's a lot of things people don't like that happened during COVID, but a lot of things happened that happened differently. We was able to say, hey, we was having meetings every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, I think it was, in person. And then we couldn't have meetings anymore. And then we said, how can we still be connected? Everything went virtual. So everything went, by some kind of system, Zoom and the system.
I want to respond to what the brother said. I don't know who was talking, but I had just came in when I got y'all information, and I had to take care of some things before I got back on the phone. But it was a dude, I don't know who it was talking about. He was like promoting his daughter. His daughter wanted to be an artist, and he was saying it's hard. That's a hard thing to be an artist, but I was still supporting her. You remember that conversation y'all had?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a question about that. My face wasn't on here, but I was listening. My son is an actor. He want to be an actor. Let me close this door. My son want to be an actor. He's an actor. He's been acting, right? But I'm scared. I'm scared to tell him, man, I don't know about all that acting stuff now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a hard road. So I guess I want to ask him. I put my fears on him if I say that, because I ain't told him that. I'm supporting him, whatever you want to do. But I'm scared for him because everybody know, man. Everybody ain't gonna make it as no actor, man.
It's interesting. I don't know if we've ever
There
I
we
don't know
go.
who
Hey,
We
giving
got
me
somebody for that.
hold on.
We got
Tenny,
somebody for that.
Tenny, before you talk,
Yeah.
hey, Nemo Gitmo, I need you to listen to this because you're speaking directly to a person that's exactly in the predicament you're getting ready to be into. Go ahead,
I'm in
Tenny.
it right now. He just had a show in Baltimore and Tampa. He's acting. He's an actor now.
Oh,
He in
good.
high
So
school,
listen,
but he an actor.
please listen to this guy now, Tenny. He's getting ready. He's at where you're getting ready to go. Go ahead, Tenny.
So son was in high school. I was kind of bringing him up like 6'3", over 200 pounds. I was trying to get him to be a offensive line guy, and I was looking forward to him being my retirement plan when he got into the NFL. So he had the wherewithal to come to me and say, "Hey, Dad, know you're trying to track me into football." He said, "I think I'll be a better actor than a football player." And it kind of took me aback, and I was like, wow, it took a lot of guts because I was working really hard, taking him to various colleges and stuff so he could get scouted and recruited and all this other kind of stuff. My mind was made up on focusing on his football career. And for him to come to me and say, "Hey, Dad, I think I'll be a better actor in a football than a football player," I said, "Okay, son, listen, I'm gonna support you. I am going to. I can't afford the school that you want to go to. I'm gonna make sure that I do all the financing possible." And this was at the end of his sophomore year that he made this confession to me. And I'm telling you, in his senior year, in his junior year, all of a sudden he's with this theatrical group in school. He's winning awards, he's winning certificates and all this other kind of stuff. And he just started proving to me that this is something that he was really good at. So I used up my credit scores and got those Parent Plus loans so he could get to college. He graduated college in 3.5 years in liberal arts. Went to a school called AMDA, the American Music Dramatic Academy. And you know it, his monologue that he did in front of the agencies was picked up. He was picked up by an agency like right away. And right after college, he picked up his first gig in a Rob Reiner film. He starred with Woody Harrelson, Mila Jovovich, or something like that. Rob Reiner was the director, and I think he actually played a part in that movie too. James Marsden was in that movie. And listen, this dude is doing it. And one thing I have to give him credit for is his integrity, because I said, "Son, this is a high risk thing that I'm doing, because the percentage of people being successful actors, especially Black actors, is low. And just when you make it, pay me back. That's all I can ask for. Just pay me back, because I'm going in deep." And right now he is starring in a show called Shrinking on Apple TV with Harrison Ford, Jessica Williams. Who's the main guy? Forget the main guy's name. If you look him up on IMDb, you'll see all his credits and all that kind of stuff. Now that he's filming his third season, he is gradually paying me back the loan. Integrity. So
Son,
I've got nothing.
I watch Drinking.
Pardon me?
Who's your son? Because I watch that show.
Really? His name is Luke Tenney. He plays the veteran with the PTSD.
Really? That's your son? Wow.
Yes.
What you doing on here, Teeny? You should be living in LA in a mansion right now. What you doing on here?
He's the one that got he's the one with the food truck.
Yes.
Wow.
That's my son. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's cool. I actually know somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah. So I would say to Brother Needmo, if he's still able to hear, go ahead and put your foot on out there and support the kid, because it's either success or failure.
Yeah.
And, if it's a failure, one thing you might want to remember is that there are a lot of actors. They're not millionaires, billionaires, but they are crafting their trade.
They what?
Crafting their trade.
Okay.
They're making money doing acting. They may not be at the Tom Cruise level, but there are a lot of actors out there who are.
Tenny, 1 second, Tenny. Everybody, just go on mute. Everybody, put yourself on mute. I'll put you on mute.
Okay.
Because that's not you, Tenny. Because that's why we're getting the feedback.
Got you. So, success is not necessarily Tom Cruise in acting. I would consider my son a great success in that, he's making his money. He's not at Tom Cruise level, but he's making a whole lot more money than I could ever dream of. So support the kid. Do whatever you can to support the kid. Let him know you're right behind him. And all that's going to do is just bolster his confidence and motivation to be the best actor he can possibly be. Why? Because my dad's got my back.
Teeny, I want to jump on that because I was the one who made the comment, and so you're 100% correct when you say just back them up, because one thing that they're going to need is that confidence, right? And if you don't have the people who you look up to showing that they're confident in you, you're not going to be confident in yourself. And so it's like paramount that you continue to support, continue to advocate. You are their advertisement. Right now, he has 6 more people that are fans of his just by you saying he's in acting. So we're going to be looking for him. You see what I'm saying? And that's how you're going to show the support. That's how you build them up. That's how you continue to support, is just by when you're coming across somebody, hey, my son, he's an actor. I always introduce my daughter. She's an artist. I let them know. You follow. In this day and age, right? Kids have so many different ways to be discovered. And when we were growing up, that were impossible. You've got access to Instagram. You've got access to all these different platforms that they can, like Teeny was saying, that you don't have to be Tom Cruise level, but you can get discovered based on what you're doing. And in the meantime, you can, show people that you have your craft, right? I was just talking to somebody the other day, and I can't remember. It was 2 separate actresses right now who were discovered because what they decided to do was they were writers, and they were like, no one's picking up their scripts, no one's calling them for acting gigs. So what they did was they went on YouTube and started to write their own shows for YouTube. They wrote them. They got the little actors. They started them themselves. Had co-star people in there, and sure enough, when it started to pick up steam, they got picked up by major networks, and now they're making like a killing in
Yeah,
the
like
industry.
the number one person of that is, and I don't know her name, but she is a Temple grad and a Temple University graduate. The young lady who created Abbott Elementary,
That yes, she's one of them. Abbott Elementary.
and now and she created all through YouTube and wrote all of this stuff. The young black woman, the awkward black girl series. She did all of this stuff, and ultimately a network picked it up, and now look at what she, look at where she is. I mean, and it was based on you just seeing her on YouTube with her little series, and the people listen. They don't have the one interesting thing is people don't realize everybody likes to be an actor, right? But sometimes you'll find out you make way more money just being a writer, right? Like you see the stars, but the writers own the property. They own it, just like a writer of music, the arranger of music. Those people, you can be a rapper all day, but you probably all you're doing is getting your money for touring. While the people who wrote the songs, who engineered and produced, they can stay at the beach and drink cocktails and get paid the residuals. So it is this mindset of expanding, because I think Tenny's son is in the business and he's learning the business, and he'll figure out, well, I want to produce. Let me say this: I advertise to everybody. Go Friday to watch Ryan Coogler's new movie, because he's a perfect example of that, and he is representing a population of people that you have never seen, and he's talking about stories that would never be created if it wasn't from this little young boy who went to USC and film school and now has become one of the greater directors who continue to make movies that because most people don't know his first film was Fruitfield Station. That was his first film. That was his first film of a student that became a major film. That wasn't like he was a major. That was his student film. Like when people write their student paper, and he became, now we've heard and we've seen interesting things from him.
Yeah,
he directed. And I know that we're sometimes so interested and we are glamorized by the sports industry. Like, 2 years, $60 million. that we see that and we like, oh man. Ed alluded to him himself. He said, "Hey, he doesn't need to be going to be a linebacker, the defensive end, and go and get them big bucks so I can, whatever." But sometimes, remember, there's a few seats for the sports.
Very few.
In the arts entertainment,
there's
multiple seats that last forever.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that's the major part. They last forever. If you don't believe it, Harrison Ford, Samuel Jackson. He's not that old, but what's my man name? Al Pacino,
Denzel Washington,
Morgan Freeman.
That's who I was thinking about initially. Morgan Freeman. If you think about these people are in their 80s and 90s, still getting hundreds of thousands, hundreds of $1 million checks for being in something for a couple weeks or what have you. So it's not limited to what you can do.
No, but
residuals are very important. When you're dealing with the industry. I'm going to give you an example. I don't know if you guys know the kid from Thea, but he was also the one who sang the theme for the song in Lion King, right?
Oh yeah, yes.
So the story, I'm gonna give you a quick story with him, and this falls in with your son. So what happened is when he first did the song, they were like, "Oh, we want to just give you $100,000." I can't remember the story. I'm just gonna give you easy numbers for myself. We'll give you $100,000. Thank you for singing the song. His mom was like, "No, we don't want $100,000." And he's like, "What?" So he was like, "What are you talking about? You want $100,000?" She said, "No, we want royalties off this song. So we'll take less money now. You give us royalties." He's still getting checks cut off that Lion King song that he sang. And anyone time someone sings it, he's getting paid. And he's like, that's the best thing his mom ever did was for him was being able to maneuver that deal to get him those residuals. And I'm saying this to tell you also, when he's getting into this industry, you have to be able to know what's going on so you can help him out. Because there's going to be a lot of things that he won't understand. And I know there's a lot of things you won't understand. Don't get me wrong, because it's something new. But while it's still early, get to know as much as you possibly can so you can help them on in the later lives. I'm going to say this one thing and then I'll be quiet. A lot of times, especially when it comes to any industry, whether it's art as in sculptures or art as in um, acting, music, all this other stuff, we as an audience see the finished product. They made it, they're on there, they're doing their thing, and we're like, oh man, I want to do that too. We don't see the grind. And that's the most important thing is to support him through the grind because that's the hardest part. Once he's there, he's there. But it's getting there that's the journey and the difficult part. So help him through the grind so that when he's there, he's good. And I'm gonna do that attest to Tenny. Tenny helped his son through the grind by saying, yo, I'm gonna take this financial burden and I'm gonna help you through this thing. Because that's one of the biggest things you have to understand is that sometimes it's not all going to be free. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand the role that you're going to play when it comes to the support you're going to give him to the understanding of the industry to make sure that he stays straight and that he continues to propel himself. And I know you said that he has like gigs now and everything else like that, but that is something that you want to continue to support and always be present so they understand that this child is not by himself. He has a force behind him. And then that's it. I'll be quiet.
You have to unmute him, Ron.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, before he went to high school, he wanted to be actor. So this school called New World had accepted him. He went to try it out for, and I was telling him, if you want to be an actor, this is probably your best bet to start off right here. And when I said he had gigs, I mean to say, like they've been doing good at this show they've been doing from from Florida, in different parts of Florida, but they went to Baltimore and Tampa. You know what I'm saying? He did a show. He's been doing real good at it. You know what I'm saying? It just I think my fear for him when it's finally time for him, like the other guy's son, to take off. You ain't gonna be there with him after a while. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's just a fear that I have in the back of my head because I want him to be successful. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how if he really understands this role he um decided to walk down. It ain't gonna be easy. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's just a fear of mine. But I'm
Yeah,
not.
don't
I don't want
don't,
to.
don't impose that don't impose that fear on him.
Right. That's right.
You want to be an encouragement, a solid rock of standing by him. And tell you a quick story. Luke kind of came out the box.
Teddy, hold on, Ron. You again? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Luke came out the box, with that Rob Reiner film he was in, and I thought he was just going to take off, from there. I thought he was going to be winning Oscars and Emmys and all this other kind of stuff. But he has a notebook right after having that, success in that one film with, high-profile stars of all the no's he got in his auditions. He never quit. And I would encourage him, there were times, where I think it was like 4 or 5 guys staying in one apartment, trying to make it out there in the acting world. And I remember, writing checks, here, this will help, tide you over for a little bit, giving him an allowance. All these no's. He got several yeses. There were two series, actually 3, but they were one-offs. They were only 1 year, 10 episodes. Still had to go through a whole bunch of no's. And he's so proud of that notebook for his, what do you call it, tenacity, his ability to take that rejection. And I think that's a badge of honor for him, because now he's in his very first series. He's wrapping up production for season 3 of the show that he's currently in. And he's got a wife. I got a grandbaby out that scenario. I, I can't say anything but good things about his passion, his desire to succeed. And Brother Robert, one thing you mentioned, he is wise enough to know to expand his territory. He's also doing his own writing and producing. He produced a short film that he's been shopping around in the, what do you call it? They're like festivals. They have film festivals, and he's shopping his short film around. So he's not just, sitting up here resting on his laurels, hoping to be, the next big discovery. He's out there. He's still grinding. And I think were it not for him knowing that he had a safety net to fall back on if things didn't work out, it could have been a different story.
And that ultimately is where we come back to, Rod, as far as fathers. Ultimately, that's the goal here. Each and every one of us in our role as fathers, our job is to let them know that we support their dream. And even if they were to fail, they got to know that we got them. Because if they don't understand it or feel that, sometimes they're very reluctant to take the next step or to keep grinding or to keep pushing, because they don't know if they have somebody to look out for them if things don't work out. Puka said what you said, Tennessee, you said that little check to say this will tide you over. If I don't have that in my dad or my parents to help me, I'm not giving up already. So that's all we're doing as fathers, just constantly being there, because sometimes if we don't give up on them, they won't give up on themselves. And it's us constantly reminding them. Like I told you guys, I went home after my failure. My grandma said, no. And that's why I went back, and here I am now. So sometimes it takes us reminding them that the grind is necessary, because there's going to be those moments, Rajel, where he's going to want to quit. And it's going to be up to you to tell him, no, you put in the time. You're going to push through this. And you got to remind him. But you can't just remind him with your words. You're going to have to remind him with a few dollars, too. Because you're going to need that. But I think that's all part of this aspect of being fathers in the never give up story that we're discussing here tonight. That's our job, to remind them to never give up, just like we didn't give up on them and didn't give up on ourselves.
No, I like both of them, their testimonies, because one thing I think they got in common, and both of their kids got in common, two separate, I'm talking about their ages are worlds apart, but their children didn't have a dream. They came to them with a drive. You understand? They came to them with a manifested dream. So their dream was already in action. He said the kid is already touring. And when you said New World, I already know. I'm like, boy, you got something on your hand. Because New World is the Juilliard of Miami, if you understand what Juilliard is. And so it's the major school for performers, actors, and entertainers. And some of the biggest actors and entertainers out of South Florida came out of New World, that school your son is in. So your son right now is in a bigger situation than you really could understand. And he's already moving in it. So that means, I'm like, no, he doesn't have a dream anymore. He has a drive. And so the difference between a dream and a drive is a dream you can put an interest in. But for drives, you got to invest in. And that's what Teeny explained. He was like, no, once that drive started to manifest itself, I had to divvy up investments. I couldn't do like, I had an interest in it. I had to, and show my investments. And so that's what's going to happen for you. But that's why God bless you with such a good job, Need Mo, Get Mo. And you definitely going to be needing Mo, Get Mo to support this young man.
and he also put you into this room this night to talk to these people. Because I didn't know that about Teddy until he thought, and I'm like, hold up, I watched that show. And to know, like I said, for you to be in this room this night at this moment to discuss this thing about your son when you was wondering what to do, and God just put you around men and a man in particular that has the same scenario. Man, when I tell people that God be moving, it ain't mysterious, man. It ain't nothing mysterious about it. It's all a planned situation. And I pray that if you, anytime, Rajel, have any questions and you need to reach out to Brother Teddy right there and can't get him, let Ron know. I believe me, they'll connect you so they can get the right people in your circle, because you already have a network right here with Brother Teddy as far as somebody who can help you be the father you need to be and manager for your son in the early stages of his career. Okay, so again, the blessing of being part of the Fatherhood Think Tank. And Ron, I'll let you take it from here.
I mean, I think that Johnny, and I think this is the reason. As I can take, listen, I can't almost soon. I might need to get a job at NPR with it. With their telethons, because that's where I get the mind. So I think I saw hear myself when I'm going to say the same thing over and over again. But this is why this kind of environment is so important, because we don't recognize that. Yeah, you know what? Here is the idea that Ed is here, right? Ed is here, but understand this: there are many fathers just like Ed in different spaces who are in the same disposition. We just happen to now, because of this network, being able to connect these two fathers who, as Lightborn said, their kids are on the same mission. They're already on the same, they have already made their mind. And I'm sure, Ed, your son knew that football could have been an option, but he probably also looked at the landscape of the society and the world and said that, I could continue to just be myself and be an actor, because I can be myself as an actor, and then I can act and be all kinds of other things when I'm acting, when I'm creating. There's a very strict doorway in sometimes being an athlete. I think of some of the best athletes they ever had that said the dudes was too big to be athletes, especially basketball players. You need to have a look. Like you got to have the look. Muggsy Bogues was able to, Muggsy Bogues and Manute Bol, the two extremes in the NBA, both had issues because people felt like they didn't look like basketball players. Manute Bol was too big, and Muggsy Bogues was too small. But they were both really great athletes, and left a legacy for us to remember and think about that. I can even bring them up right now. So you begin to think about that. So a big part of being able to put that in play. But again, like, share, and subscribe to Fatherhood Think Tank. We are here on Tuesday nights. We definitely, I have at this point really enjoyed this conversation. I think that has been so much rich conversation of ideas to bring together to really not, and listen, and I'm going to reframe this conversation we have a little bit for people, that it doesn't just have to be about, I know we're talking about kids going into acting, but you can reframe this into anything that your kids is interested into, right? Anything that the same capacity of your support is needed. It's not like, my kid wants to go into, because listen, I hate this. I don't want to say this, but I will. There are things our kids go into that's negative, that can cost them their life, right? And we support it. And I see it every day because it supports the home. There was a time and frame where, listen, there was either get a job at Mr. Johnson's store and make like a couple dollars sweeping up the floor, or go out there with Fat Low and get you a big dookie chain. Because if you go get a fat little big dookie chain, you have a lot more money to bring home into the house. You be out all day, moving package, moving this and that. But Mr. Johnson's store, you go down there, you're going to sweep up. Mr. Johnson's going to give you like $5, and that you put that $5 back in the house. But it wasn't enough to pay a light bill. It wasn't enough to, buy your little brother and sister something to eat. But if you went out there with Fat Low, it was a different light. And no one argued you going out with Fat Low until something bad happened. But people survive from that too. But that's what I'm saying. We have to support our kids and the things that they do, and how they want to do it, because they know what they want to do. They have experienced a word that some of us now don't understand because we still focus. Like Tenny, you was right. The thing about, hey, you a big boy, you need to go into sports, right? That's a mindset. That's a mindset of our generation would have.
I was
But it's a whole,
stereotyping.
right, it's a brave new world out here that we don't have that understanding. Some of it.
But Ron, I wanted to say something. My wife wanted me to give y'all a shout out because she said that this show inspired her, particularly Nemo, Gitmo, and Tinny, about their sons. Now here it is. My wife is a grown woman. She's a playwright. She has a wonderful play. I'm talking about for an amateur. For her first play, it was really up there. It was Broadway type. And I'm not saying it because of my wife. I'm a hard critic on myself. So imagine what type of critic I am against everybody else. But nevertheless, she said she was completely inspired by both of your children. It is two separate ages, but the fact that they're not giving up at the ages that they are, and the fact that they are our children, just reignite her inspiration and her passion to just keep moving and never give up, as we talked about on this topic. And she's a woman that's listening. So thank God for you guys and the testimonies and stories you shared.
And with that being said, I want to thank all the fathers for joining us tonight. Remember, we'll be back here next Tuesday. Next Tuesday at 7:00. I know we came on a little bit late. That's why we're going to 8:45. We will give you 90 minutes. Don't worry. 90 minutes will always be in contact because look, when we have multiple people, and I mean, I just want to give a shout out to, I know that I had talked to a lot of guys about being on the Frenchie show that was the abolition show in New York on WBIA, WBAI, one of those in New York. Me and Lightborn were on that show, and I think from that show I realized that what we're doing is madly important. I think the conversation that we was having, it was only for an hour. If we could definitely, and that's why I'm asking people to get people to subscribe and join. And I ask you dads on here, go to people, ask them to join so questions can come. Because I think there was some questions asked this weekend on that show on Sunday night that was, I think we would have ate them questions up, as the group that we are. We would have ate them questions like hors d'oeuvres. But there was some powerful questions. And I think people are concerned and have a wonder and need to hear this type of support. So again, join us, like us, watch us, share us, subscribe us, the Fatherhood Think Tank. Also, we can't go without today's show was sponsored by JAG, Attorney at Law, Miami-Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach. You can reach JAG, Attorney at Law, Johnny Gaspar Esquire, Johnny Gaspar Ed, JAG, onelaw.com, 305-827-8087. You can get him. He's handling all. I'm not better be careful. He handles. Check him out. See what kind of law things he handles. Because I say he handles everything. Up here in Philly, we got Philadelphia lawyers. They do anything. But Johnny might not be a Philadelphia lawyer, so I'm not going to put him in that category. So that's our sponsor for tonight's show. I want to thank everybody who watched and joined us tonight. I know that 90 minutes might be a long time to sit somewhere and listen to people talk, but at least what we're talking about is not boring. You're not hearing the same person, and you're hearing different things that might benefit you, benefit family members, benefit your community, especially you as fathers. Maybe just benefit you to know that someone else in the world who's a father like you is facing the same thing, and that's the purpose of the Fatherhood Think Tank. We'll see you all here again next week, 7:00, Fatherhood Think Tank, for another interesting topic. And if you are interested, in family-related things, like black marriage and family therapy, we'll be on Thursday night. I'll have my crew. We're getting that crew back together. So if you remember the show we have Therapy Thursday, we moved that to another show to Black Marriage and Family. really issues. I think this week we're going to be looking at some actual issues that happen in communities, and how therapists should be breaking them down and how they affect us in our community. I believe we're going to be doing that. Let me don't hold myself to it, because I better not be giving out the information before the team aside. But I'm overzealous. So when you're running like I'm running, you're overzealous. You just want to get people to join, because I think it's so much good information. That's what I mean. I spend my life trying to make sure people can get this information. It's almost like PSA. I'm just an all day PSA, all day PSA. But again, thank you for joining us. Until then, you can join it. Hey, I forgot this. Somehow, I don't know why, but let's try to do it back. We got to get this down, because I think we've been messing it up for the little weeks. So the first one thing is Father, I am.
I
I
am.
Amen.
See what I'm saying? We lost. Here we go. Ready? Let's go. I am.
I
I
am.
am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of honor.
I am a
I
man
I
of
am a
honor.
man of honor.
I am a man of courage.
I am
I
a
I
am
man
a
of courage.
man of courage.
I am a man of respect.
I
I
am
I
a
am.
am
man
a
of
man of
respect.
respect.
I say you are.
You
You
are.
are.
I say we are.
We
We
are.
are.
Championship Father.
Championship Father.
All right, we gotta get that down packed. See what happens when you be away for a long time. Everybody get rusty and old and forget, But we gonna bring it back. I'm gonna send everybody a memo back out, so we can have the chant, so people can know that, hey, we are here to come and help other fathers be championship fathers, and do what they need to do, for not just for their families, but mainly for themselves, because as they say, if the if the oxygen comes down, you got to put yours on first before you can put anybody else on, or you're gonna
I
be knocked
hear
out.
that.
They're gonna be dead too. So with
I
that
hear
being said,
that.
we'll see you next week here on the Fatherhood Think Tank. Good night.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good night.
And you take care, Paul. Have a good one.